Once you get a chance and you go look out the window and you get to look down on our planet and you see just how dynamic it is, how interconnected everything is, and how precious it is truly an oasis of life in the blackness of space, and it is an incredible privilege to get to see that.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff. Vehicle is supersonic.
My family had a cabin up in the Pocono Mountains in Pennsylvania, and I remember going out and exploring in the woods out there, and just the idea of going places that at least I thought nobody had ever been before was really inspiring for me. And so I remember watching STS-1, which was the first shuttle launch, and just being amazed by it. I had already had a love of airplanes, and watching the space shuttle come back and land like an airplane just really captivated me. And so I continued to follow the space program, but to me, astronauts were superheroes, and so the idea that I could one day be one wasn't really on my radar at the younger age, and so I pursued my career as a pilot and a test pilot. I was right down the road in Columbus, Mississippi, is where I went to flight school. I stayed there as an instructor pilot, and I knew I wanted to go to test pilot school, and I felt that having a master's degree was something that was going to make me competitive. Thankfully, UA was very flexible. That was one of the things that drove me to that program. Being active duty military, I had, I think during that time frame, 3 different deployments. To be able to still pursue these academic goals that I had was really, really special, and I'm really fortunate to have a school like Alabama that was able to support that and ultimately get me to that goal. And much later along, I read the biography of Rick Husband, who was the commander of the Space Shuttle Columbia, and there were a lot of similarities in our upbringing, in our values, in our professional careers that really made it start feeling tangible. And I had already submitted my application to test pilot school, and that was like one more little feather in the cap that I'm that much closer to being able to achieve this thing that I never really dreamed was achievable.
Fellow Airman Bob Hines, there he is. Today, he's going into space for the very first time as the pilot for NASA SpaceX's Crew 4.
Crew 4 is the SpaceX mission that took us to the International Space Station, where we paired up with 3 cosmonauts. And so for that 170-day mission on board the space station, we were conducting all different kinds of science experiments, as well as maintaining and operating the space station itself. The space station is a national laboratory, and at any given time, there's 250 to 300 different experiments up there, and they are touching all different kinds of science, whether it be biology, microbiology. We look at how different products combust, how to grow plants, like all different kinds of science up there. So you kind of get to the end of the workday, and then you go look out the window and you pinch yourself and you're like, man, this is an incredible view looking down on our amazing planet. I think it all comes down to service. It's easy to do things for yourself, but it's more special when you do things for others. In the astronaut corps, we're going and exploring and doing research and developing technology for the betterment of all of humanity. You know, there is a cast of thousands. As astronauts and the blue suiters, we get to sit on the pointy end of the rocket, but we are a tiny, tiny piece of an incredible team around the country and around the world that makes those missions happen. So it's really an honor to get to be part of that amazing team.